and me being a businessman, I think that I'm gonna have to release almost all my artists, except for Pooh Shiesty and Fujiano.
Pooh Shiesty, one of the most influential Memphis rappers of his generation, helped generate millions of streams and played a major role in bringing renewed attention to 1017 Records. Now he's made comments that have sent serious ripples through the hip-hop world. After spending years incarcerated, he returned home expecting support from the label he once represented.
Like, I had to come with this particular song because it's like the message, you know? It fit like around a I'm back type of vibe, you know what I'm saying? The thought process on it, like, I really like was getting it together as I was in there doing my time, but I couldn't finish it because I'm getting new experiences and I'm going through new things, and so like I wrapped it up first day in the studio with everything, the whole coming home experience, and like I couldn't rap in the song on how my welcome was when I came home. Yeah, I couldn't put it in there, so I did it when I came home and everything just hit me in it.
But according to his own statements, that support never came. And at the center of this situation is Gucci Mane.
1017 yesterday, but I just seen like my statement, my P&L with all my artists. You know, it's almost like a whole bunch of shakeup and it's a whole show in the industry right now. But when I look at my P&L and me being a businessman, I think that I'm gonna have to release almost all my artists, except for Pooh Shiesty and Fujiano.
This isn't being framed as a routine artist-label disagreement. From Pooh Shiesty's perspective, it involves loyalty, family matters, loss, respect, and finances. And if you think this situation will quietly fade away, you may not fully understand how Memphis artists and their circles operate. Stay with me through the end, because breaking down what's happened helps explain why many believe this situation could escalate into a major conflict within hip-hop. Let's take a closer look. To understand how things reached this point, you have to understand who Pooh Shiesty is and what he represented to 1017 Records. Back in 2020, Pooh Shiesty wasn't just another new artist, he was widely seen as the future of Gucci Mane's label. His breakout record, Back in Blood featuring Lil Durk, became a cultural moment, collecting hundreds of millions of streams and turning him into one of the most talked about names in rap almost overnight. The Memphis rapper brought a gritty, authentic energy that connected with audiences nationwide. His debut mixtape, Shiesty Season, eventually earned platinum recognition, and suddenly 1017 Records found itself back in the spotlight in ways it hadn't experienced for some time. Pooh Shiesty wasn't just releasing music, he was generating real revenue for the label. Serious money. But in October 2021, everything shifted. Pooh Shiesty was arrested and later sentenced to 5 years in federal prison on firearms-related conspiracy charges. For many artists, incarceration severely damages momentum, visibility, and relevance. Yet in his case, interest around his name continued to grow. Fans remained engaged, streams stayed strong, and anticipation for his eventual release kept building. During this period, Gucci Mane publicly spoke about missing Pooh Shiesty and expressed excitement about his return, suggesting that 1017 was holding things together in his absence. At one point, Gucci even reduced much of the label's roster, keeping only a few artists, including Pooh Shiesty and Fujiano. However, based on what's surfaced since, those public messages may not have reflected what was happening privately.
1017 yesterday, but I just seen like my statement, my P&L with all my artists. You know, it's almost like a whole bunch of shakeup and it's a whole show in the industry right now. But when I look at my P&L and me being a businessman, I think that I'm gonna have to release almost all my artists, except for Pooh Shiesty and Fujiano.
Looking back, the partnership initially appeared ideal. Gucci Mane, a respected Atlanta trap pioneer, teaming up with a hungry Memphis rapper, brought an energy that reminded many fans of Gucci's earlier years. Gucci offered industry access, resources, and exposure, while Pooh Shiesty delivered momentum and visibility. Early on, Pooh Shiesty proudly represented 1017 in interviews, posts, and music, often speaking about Gucci Mane as a mentor and family figure. At the time, the loyalty appeared genuine, and it made sense. Before signing, Pooh Shiesty was an emerging street rapper trying to break through. After joining the label, he was performing on major stages, working with established artists, and appearing on billboards. From the outside, the partnership looked successful. However, according to industry chatter, tensions may have existed even before his incarceration. Some insiders suggested there were behind-the-scenes disagreements over contracts and compensation. These discussions were never made public and appeared to be standard business disputes rather than open conflict. Fast forward to 2025, and Pooh Shiesty finally returns home. The industry watched closely, expecting a major comeback moment. Would the label welcome him back publicly? Would there be visible support or a relaunch plan? According to Pooh Shiesty, none of that happened. Shortly after his release, he shared a message on social media stating that when he came home, no label figures or industry peers truly showed up for him, only his family and longtime supporters. While he didn't mention anyone by name, many fans interpreted the statement as referencing his label situation. According to individuals familiar with the matter, the core issue centers on contract negotiations. Pooh Shiesty entered prison under his original agreement, but upon release, that deal was up for reconsideration. His position in the industry had changed significantly. He entered prison as a rising artist and exited as a proven name with a platinum project and a loyal fan base. From this perspective, expectations around compensation were higher. However, reports suggest that negotiations did not align with those expectations. These claims have not been independently verified, but they've fueled discussion that Pooh Shiesty felt undervalued based on his performance and market impact. As a result, talks reportedly stalled. Since his release, Pooh Shiesty has noticeably avoided mentioning 1017 Records publicly. The chains, the shoutouts, and the endorsements that once defined the relationship have been absent. That silence alone has sparked widespread speculation. Pooh Shiesty has suggested that he didn't receive any meaningful welcome or personal gesture from the label upon returning home. Again, this reflects his account of events, but it's clear that expectations on both sides were not met. The situation becomes even more sensitive when family is involved. Pooh Shiesty's cousin, Big Scar, was also signed to 1017 Records and was gaining momentum before his tragic death in December 2022 due to an accidental overdose. He was just 22 years old, and his passing deeply impacted the Memphis rap community. While Pooh Shiesty was still incarcerated, he had to process that loss from behind bars. After Big Scar's death, members of his family publicly criticized Gucci Mane, alleging that the label focused on reclaiming jewelry rather than offering emotional or financial support. These statements represent the family's perspective and have not been legally substantiated. Big Scar's brother later shared his frustrations online, claiming that attempts to reach out for funeral assistance were ignored. Those claims intensified public scrutiny and further strained perceptions of the label's leadership. For Pooh Shiesty, observing this situation involving his cousin while incarcerated reportedly left a lasting impression. From his viewpoint, the matter extended beyond business into personal territory, shaping how he now views his former relationship with the label. And this is where things become even more complex.
Even if Pooh Shiesty wanted to reach out to Gucci Mane directly, even if he wanted to sit down and have an honest conversation about everything that's happened, that option doesn't really exist. And according to people familiar with the situation, the reason is simple. Gucci Mane's wife, Keisha Kawar, is said to oversee most of his communications. Multiple reports and industry insiders have claimed that she manages his Instagram account, monitors his phone, and plays a major role in deciding who gets access to him. If someone wants to contact Gucci Mane, they reportedly have to go through her first. She sees the messages, oversees calls, and filters communication. Now, some would argue that this is just a spouse being protective and involved, which in many cases is completely normal. But within the music business, that setup can create complications. Artists often need direct, private access to the head of their label. They need space to discuss contracts, creative direction, and personal concerns without intermediaries. When a third party is always present, especially one who may have their own priorities, communication can break down. For Pooh Shiesty, this reportedly means that even if he wanted to resolve things with Gucci Mane one-on-one, he would have to go through Keisha first. And based on how recent events have unfolded, that route doesn't appear to have led to progress. Here's the reality many believe Pooh Shiesty has come to accept. At this stage of his career, there isn't much Gucci Mane can offer him that he can't secure on his own. When Pooh Shiesty originally signed to 1017 Records, he needed exposure, industry connections, and a launchpad. He was a rising artist looking for a breakthrough, and Gucci Mane provided that opportunity. For that, Pooh Shiesty has consistently shown appreciation. But now the situation is very different. Pooh Shiesty has built his own loyal fan base. His streaming numbers speak for themselves. His name carries weight, and his brand is already established. He's demonstrated that he can deliver successful records and generate revenue. So the question becomes, what does 1017 really provide him at this point? Distribution can be handled by multiple major labels, or even through an independent setup with the right team. Marketing isn't the same challenge it once was. His presence alone creates attention. Features aren't dependent on label politics anymore, because artists collaborate with him based on his reputation, not his contract. The balance of power has clearly shifted. Pooh Shiesty is no longer the newcomer trying to prove himself. He's an artist who served time and returned with even more visibility and credibility. From that perspective, he now holds leverage. Reports that he was offered a contract renewal he felt undervalued suggest either a disconnect or a lack of alignment between both sides. That's why he appears ready to walk away. That's why he's no longer publicly representing 1017, and that's why the relationship seems to have deteriorated. From his point of view, staying would mean accepting terms he believes don't reflect his value, and he's not willing to do that. If this situation continues to unfold publicly, the impact could be significant. Will Gucci Mane address it directly? Will he respond through music, statements, or behind-the-scenes conversations? Or will he attempt to quietly repair the relationship? A drawn-out public dispute could raise questions about 1017 Records as a whole. Other artists may pay close attention to how this is handled before deciding whether they want to align themselves with the label.
For Pooh Shiesty, this appears to be about respect and fair treatment. For Gucci Mane, it's about protecting his legacy and the future of his label. And beyond the individuals involved, this situation highlights a broader issue in the music industry: how labels work with young artists early in their careers. Many artists sign deals when they're hungry, inexperienced, and eager for opportunity. At that stage, they may accept terms they later realize don't reflect their long-term worth. As artists grow, gain knowledge, and understand the business side, those early agreements can start to feel restrictive. Labels that adapt, renegotiate in good faith, and acknowledge an artist's growth tend to maintain strong relationships. Labels that don't often develop reputations that make new talent hesitant. Right now, 1017 Records faces that risk. If this relationship with Pooh Shiesty can't be repaired, it may affect how the label is viewed moving forward. And realistically, Pooh Shiesty has been one of the most prominent faces associated with the label in recent years. Other artists have faced legal issues, departures, or setbacks. Losing a key figure like him would be a major shift. This puts Gucci Mane at an important crossroads. He can choose to address the situation constructively and show that he values his artists, or allow the tension to grow and potentially damage the label's image. When looking at the full picture, it's clear the partnership between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane has reached a critical point. What began as a promising alliance has turned into frustration, disappointment, and a breakdown in trust. Pooh Shiesty reportedly returned from prison expecting support from the label he helped elevate. Instead, he felt sidelined, undervalued, and unheard. He has also expressed frustration over how certain sensitive situations were handled, which only deepened the divide. From his perspective, that's not how you treat someone you consider family or your most successful artist. Now he's making it clear that he's stepping back. He's no longer promoting the label, no longer aligning himself with Gucci Mane, and he's letting it be known that he felt unsupported after his release. That message carries weight, and it could influence how this story continues to develop. Whether this remains quiet tension or escalates further is still unknown. Will he address it directly through music? Will Gucci Mane respond publicly? Or will both sides move on separately? Only time will reveal the outcome, but one thing is clear: the loyalty that once defined this relationship appears to be gone. And in hip-hop, once trust is broken, rebuilding it is extremely difficult.